And I don't see my Democrat colleagues trying to tone it down. Hakeem Jeffries, literally within the last hour, just said he stands by his comments for, quote, maximum warfare everywhere all the time. This is not a both sides thing. And I know it's going to be characterized. This is a problem uniquely on the left right now.
Yeah, it sure is. That was Senator Eric Schmitt, great state of Missouri, who's right here in front of us live, and we're going to talk some about that. Senator Schmitt, welcome back, sir. So you're right. Hakeem Jeffries doubled down today. No repentance whatsoever. And then this character, Jimmy Kimmel, said the same thing. Nobody's pulling back on anything. It's like Saturday night never occurred, or it's like the history you were talking about at your press conference never occurred. I mean, so President Trump would prefer to try to unify. He said that many, many times. He thought there was some goodwill coming out of the Correspondence Center Saturday night, but apparently that goodwill does not extend to the Democratic Party or its leadership.
No, it's because the Trump derangement syndrome, Larry, has metastasized. It has become the sole focus of the Democrat Party at this point. They have nothing else. They've lost working class voters. They've lost the argument. The wokeification of their party is complete. But they have nothing other than TDS. And if you dig a little bit deeper, Larry, it is troubling beyond just the incidents you could rattle off that are left-wing violence. But 25% of those people, Larry, that describe themselves as very liberal, believe it is that political violence is acceptable, compared to 3% of those very conservative voters. Now, that's 3% too many on our side, but that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. And when over 50% of those on the left believe that it is at least somewhat justified to assassinate President Trump, there's a problem. And you don't hear any Democrats on that side of the aisle trying to address it. They just kind of dig further and further into this hatred for President Trump.
Well, Assistant Senator, should ABC broadcast network pull Kimmel? I mean, he's repeating this stuff about Melania's, expected widowhood, which is really dirty pool. I mean, it really is a disgusting thing, and he's repeating it. Now, shouldn't they take some responsibility, ABC Broadcasting?
Well, I think the sponsors are starting to speak up here. And I would just say, look, I think Jimmy Kimmel is a totally unfunny political commentator. I don't know how all these evening shows or these late night shows have survived, catering to one small and shrinking audience. I mean, somebody's going to figure it out there on network television, have somebody like Gutfeld or something like that on for an offering, and it's going to do very well. But anyway, I just think Kimmel's a joke and not very funny.
Another subject, you all had this press conference yesterday, and I was surprised you're all calling for the $400 million, for the construction site for Mr. Trump's ballroom, which is probably we need now more than ever after what happened at the Hilton. But now it's going to be funded by government taxpayer money. It's not going to be funded privately. What's behind that thinking?
Well, actually, what the legislation does right now, there's technically not really a way for that money to come to the Treasury and be paid for. So what the legislation does is it creates that avenue for the private donations to actually be used for that. And then it also, to backfill that, you could, if it's not enough, you could use user fees or the for custom fees that come in, from like a user fee for customs agents, that would be used to backfill it. So the private donations is still how we would fund it. It just creates a legal mechanism by way to those to actually be accepted. And by the way, the court case isn't done. There was a recent court decision that sort of blocked the effort, but that's not the final say. So I still think President Trump is going to be successful here. And by the way, Larry, you know this, it's not just for, this isn't just for this term. I mean, I don't even know they'd be finished. It might be finished in his last year. But this is a venue, a secure venue on the White House property where you can have these kinds of events, like a state dinner, or when foreign dignitaries come in, where you can have more than just a couple of hundred people. You can't really do that anywhere in the White House right now. Presidents of both parties have talked about this for a long time, but President Trump is a person of action and has pushed this issue. But again, we get back to the Democrats' visceral reaction to all this, which is always to oppose anything that President Trump wants to do. And it's just gotten serial at this point.
Well, that's why I love the idea of private donations. I understand what you're saying now. There has to be a vehicle. because there's long-standing legislation. Private people can't run the government, so I guess that's what you're getting at. But, you know, 400 million or 500 million, you know, amongst your old friends, amongst Mr. Trump's friends, that's just walking around money. We can get that easily. We can double that. You know that.
Well, Larry, you're good for half that, I feel like, if we're really in a pinch. So.
Well, as an impoverished host, yeah, but listen, we have pals that can pony that money up. I mean, believe me. So don't give up on the private donor, Senator.
Yeah, no, this is a way for that money to be accepted, and like I said, to backfill on any customs fees.
All right. I was here to argue with you about reconciliation bills, skinny bills, double bills, triple bills. We'll do that another time.
We'll do it.
It's too much fun. Today's a great day. Senator Eric Schmitt, great state of Missouri. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Take care, Larry.